Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. It's not even new; it's an emergency podcast episode. Angel, how we doing on this Tuesday?
Good, good. Busy. Literally just got done eating dinner like 5 minutes ago, ready to go. Just sat down and have been home for like literally 5 minutes.
I know. It was breaking news. The Astros
Mhm.
tweeted out Jose Altuve is an Astro for life, and Twitter, X, all social media platforms went crazy trying to figure out what was happening. And then, sure enough, the news comes out that Jose Altuve signed a 5-year contract extension with the Houston Astros. It's kind of like where you were, like where were you in that moment when that had happened? Because this guy has meant so much to this organization. He's played with the Astros since 2011, making his debut. He was there during the harsh times in the National League, from the 100 lost seasons and then all the way to 2015, being a two-time World Series champion. So he's been there. Astro Wharf Craig, real quick, said, "Yeehaw, Joshua, what's going on, man?" Um, just a lovely Tuesday, I would say, in my eyes. But of course, like we're talking about, but per Ari Alexander, Altuve's contract is 5 years, 125 million contract. And then the breakdown of the contract is very interesting because he gets a 15 million signing bonus 2025. We're going to break it down real quick. 2025, 30 million, 26, 30 million, 27, 30 million, 2028, he gets 10 million, 2029, 10 million as well. Per Bob Nightingale, he is the first second baseman to surpass a career earning of 300 million. The part that intrigues me the most is the contract itself. 5 years, 125. And Altuve was very immediate about he wanted to be in Houston Astros uniform for the rest of his career. He wanted to play over the age of 40, like Justin Verlander, what he's doing right now. So I think getting the deal done with Crane and him, both of them being back, and even Crane had said it himself too. I've seen a tweet from Mark Berman, Brian McTaggart, of course, on MLB.com, talking and tweeting away that they've been together for a while. Since Jim Crane had bought the Astros, being the owner, and Altuve being with the Astros during the National League time. So, what's your take on this?
This is huge. This is huge for not just Astros fans, but Jose Altuve as well. Um, and this is something I think both parties want is the Astros and Jose Altuve for Altuve to retire as an Astro, and the way the contract works, the way it's looking on years, it's it might happen, right? At least like there's no injury and there's no trade, but the way this contract has worked is Jose Altuve will retire as an Astro, and it's crazy to think that Jose Altuve was first signed for $15,000, like not million, $15,000, and now the signing bonus is 15 million, so it's pretty special for Jose Altuve as well.
Yeah, if you've heard the story before, the Astros and all the scouts, talked about, you know, you're not saying you're not welcome, but basically, we don't need to see you come back. You've come to the tryout, but we don't want to see you come back. But yet again, Altuve went to the tryout. One of the scouts had seen something in him, and the Astros, sure enough, they, like you were saying, $15,000. Um, signing Altuve from Venezuela. But two questions I want to ask you real quick. One, what do you think of this deal and Altuve? And then the second question being, what does it mean for the other Astros that are about to hit free agency pretty soon? Of course, you'll have Alex Bregman hitting free agency this coming new year. You got Tucker and Valdez as well coming up. So, what do you think? Is there maybe an extension going around in the next upcoming years, or just for right now, just let it play off where it's going to be?
Um, First and foremost, to answer your first question, I believe it's a win-win for both Jose Altuve and the Astros. The Astros get a team-friendly deal in 5 years, $125 million, and and Jose Altuve gets to retire as an Astro. So pretty, pretty like I guess balanced deal for both ends. And now the complicated part, I would say, for the Astros is trying to work a contract with uh King Tuck, with Framber Valdez and Alex Bregman. For me, Bregman's a little bit more trickier because he is a little younger than Jose Altuve. So finding years and money, especially the way the market is with third basemen in general, and it's just baseball players in general, it's gonna be a pretty high. I'm looking. I'm seeing if Bregman signs with either with the Astros, somebody's going to be over 200 million. And to me, unless some deferred money is in the picture, I don't think the Astros are comfortable with that. Just because you also got Kyle Tucker, who's a little younger than Alex Bregman, plays the outfield position, left-hander. So it's just like all these teams come into play, and I don't see Kyle Tucker or Bregman giving team-friendly deals to the Astros. And they don't have to, right? They've earned every penny that they earned. So I would say Bregman's contract is not as likely as Kyle Tucker. So let me repeat that. An extension for Alex Bregman is a lot less likely than it would be for Kyle Tucker. I see Kyle Tucker, I'm not in the Astros front office, but if I can see them prioritizing Tucker a little bit more.
I think so. Nothing against Alex Bregman, because Alex Bregman, what he's done in the Astros uniform, I mean, even the start of his career, dude. I mean, he's been with the Astros since he made his debut in 2016, but after that, 2017, I mean, he's been in the playoffs with them for a good while. I mean, made trips to the ALCS and made trips to the World Series, two-time World Series champion. But I do see Bregman maybe looking at the 300 million mark. Like I said, this guy is one of the best at working the count at the play, his play discipline, his vision, the way he approaches at the plate as well. I think that's a big factor, going into the offensive spot on the offensive part of it. And then defensively, I mean, he's played a great third baseman. He's been finalist for the Gold Glove, I want to say, back-to-back years now. So this guy's going to find a way to get his money, because, I mean, by all means, he should be going out there and try to get what he's worth. But Kyle Tucker is going to be an interesting part, because we've had our debates and we've talked about, if it's between Tucker, if it's between Bregman, if it's between Valdez. I mean, who would you want to extend? Just think about it. Just this past, yesterday, Bobby Wood Jr. just signed that big extension with the Royals. If you see right now, I mean, him, Julio Rodriguez, I think there's another one. I just can't remember the other players are something special. Sorry about that. Five-tool players are special because they're hard to get. Kyle Tucker's gone to Gold Glove. He just won a batting title this year with the Louisville Slugger. He's a World Series champion already. He's already shown that he could hit close to 300. So if the Astros are going to want to look at maybe who's the next guy up after Altuve, which by all means right now it's Yordan Alvarez, because he did have that 6-year contract extension. I want to say either last year or the year before that. But now you need another guy to continue that on, and that could be possibly Kyle Tucker, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if Framber Valdez has another year, like if this year for Framber Valdez is more like his first half of last year, then you can make an argument about Valdez as well. But right now, that water is getting pretty tight for the Astros. Again, you also got to think about that. They're also paying Josh Hader. They're paying Montero too. And they got all these guys. Jeremy Payne is going to be in arbitration soon as well. So um, it's a lot of moving pockets around, moving money here, right? So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how everything pans out for the Astros. And how's it going,
Yeah. Anthony Mares, what's going on? Joshua, how about you, man? Having a good day on this lovely Tuesday. But like you were saying, yeah, I mean, because think about, they just traded for Justin Verlander. They don't have to pay as much. Yeah, they don't have to pay as much because the Mets are going to be paying mostly on that contract, but they're still going to have to pay a little bit of it. And then, of course, you got to think of the futures of the players coming up in free agency. So it'll be interesting to see what the Astros are going to do. Of course, Crane said, as long as, and he had mentioned this on a tweet by Mark Berman, that as long as he's here, they're going to continue doing what they're doing. But Jose Altuve, I mean, 2017 MVP for the American League, eight-time All-Star, two-time World Series, a Gold Glover, a Silver Slugger. I mean, the guy has done it all. I would say, personally, in my opinion, I think he's the best Astros in franchise history. One of the best Astros player in franchise history.
Yeah, I think
it's hard to do that with with Bagwell and Biggio, but
See,
honestly, looking at the accolades that Altuve brings and what he's done in his tenure as an Astro, I think he's the guy that's the best player in Astros history.
yeah, and I firmly believe that Altuve has surpassed Biggio and Bagwell um, for the best Astro. Just the way he's been in the postseason, I think that speaks volumes as well, and just what he's meant to to this Astros club. And I'm not saying Bagwell and Biggio were not team guys; they were, right? But at the end of the day, postseason success, regular season success, accolades all speak volume. I think Jose Altuve has surpassed both.
I mean, shoot, he's on what, second all time in home runs in postseason history, just
Hmm.
behind Manny Ramirez, which could happen later on. He could possibly be passing Manny up for that title. So yeah, I agree. Postseason too. I mean, think about the best postseason players being Derek Jeter, of course. Bernie Williams had his time. David Ortiz being one of the best postseason players when it comes to October. So Altuve, I'd say too, joins it. Astro Wolf Craig says Altuve's postseason contributions put him on top, and I agree with you. And I agree with you too, Angel. Them guys, nothing against Altuve, nothing against Bagwell, but I mean, what he's been doing in an Astros uniform, and like we were talking about earlier, that the time that he took being from 2011, this 5'5", 5'6", player, second baseman, look what he's done. He's basically trailblazed for the future of the generation of baseball players coming up too. 5'6", 5 foot. It doesn't matter what size. It just, as long as you continue playing, with your heart and the way you perform on the field is just going to show what you could do.
100%, 100%. And I feel like him and guys like Dustin Pedroia are kind of trailblazers in that aspect as well.
Yeah, Dustin Pedroia. I want what? Did he win an MVP before
I'm
or
not
no?
sure. I
I'm not
don't think so.
100% sure, but I mean, no, what Dustin Pedroia is coming up in the Hall of Fame ballot next year. So, it'll be interesting to see what he gets on that ballot. But of course, there's some more Astros news,
Oh,
and
he
that is
did.
he did, right? What year?
Dustin Pedroia MVP in 2008.
2008.
213 hits that year, 118 runs, 54 doubles, 83 RBI, 17 home runs, batted 326.
Dude, that's 16 years ago.
Yeah.
16 years ago. I mean, gosh, time has flown by. But let's talk about Mauricio Dubon now. I mean,
Yeah.
Doobie, what he did this past season in an Astros uniform was phenomenal. 100%. You saw what he did in the postseason, of course, in the early part when Altuve was hurt. He took the bat. He was out there, did whatever he could, got, little bit of points from Yordan Alvarez, domino players as well. And look what he's been doing. He had a hitting streak at what, 20 games, I want to say, that he
Yeah.
carried it to.
Hmm.
So, I mean, he had a great 2023 season, and it'll be interesting what he does in 2024. But per Chandler Rome, Mauricio Dubon won his arbitration case against the Astros. Source tells The Athletic he'll make 3.5 million this season. Of course, if you remember the arbitration hearing, Astros were going for 3.0 million, and Dubon wanted 3.5. So obviously, Dubon won that matchup. But Angel, I mean, does winning these arbitration hearings mean something to these players? Because obviously, you remember last offseason, Corbin Burns and the Brewers went into the arbitration hearing, and Corbin Burns wasn't happy after. I mean, you could hear in his voice. You saw the media how it looked. He just wasn't too happy. So, does this mean a lot when these players win these arbitration hearings?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not gonna say it's a boost of confidence because it's not, but it's just pays tribute to the contributions they have had with their ball clubs, right? And I think if you look at Mauricio Dubon, the Astros may not even win the American League, the AL West if Dubon is not there. So he's been a big factor covering for Altuve, playing all fields, and I think he got what he deserved in getting those extra $500,000 because that's you know he's earned it. He played tough, 20 game history, like you said. It was able to do it all, and I think at one point he was the main guy for the Astros when everybody else was struggling.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, in the postseason, I believe Chas McCormick wasn't hitting as well as Dubon. You remember in that Texas series, Dubon was starting to hit. I want to say either in the two hole or in the bottom half of the order. But what he did in the postseason was very helpful for the Astros. Of course, too, you remember Gold Glove utility, winner right there. I mean, he did it all from second base to center field, like you're saying, the outfield. So Dubon winning that 3.5 million, yeah, it may not mean nothing to the fans or to anybody, but to these players, I feel like that does mean a lot because it shows what they did that past season, and it just carries their maybe not their confidence, but the way they're going to be performing in the next coming year. So I'll be interested to
It
see
shows,
how. Go ahead.
I was just say it shows their worth too. I think
Yeah.
uh Mauricio Dubon feels that he was worth $3.5 million, and having somebody else tell you that, like in front of the Astros, just goes a long way too.
Most definitely. But last but not least, on the Astros roundup, 2024 spring training hats have been released. I don't know if you saw it through Major League Baseball. They did post the spring training hats from all 30 MLB teams. Give me your thoughts. Give me the thoughts on this year's Astros spring training hats. I mean, through the years, they've done navy blue, they've done some orange, but this hat all around is orange. Like it looks like a tangerine kind of orange. So, share me your thoughts. What do you think about these hats coming up?
It might be a tribute to Florida, the where all the oranges come from. But honestly, it's okay. I mean, I think the Astros, I think the Navy for spring training, just how they use in the regular season, is just like a great hat. So, but I don't know if you saw the trend of all the major league hats. They were basically going bright colors. I think the Brewers have a yellow one.
Padres have a yellow one as
Diamondbacks
well.
Diamondbacks have like a teal color. So I think it makes sense for what they were trying to do. But I think the Navy uh, is the way to go.
Share some of X's thoughts real quick. Dugout mom Trisha said they are very orange, sort of remind me of a sherbet. That's a funny one. Chris Ketchum, Minute Maid orange fits the theme. It's different, looks pretty good for a one-time thing. Maybe it could be possibly more than one time later in the future because, like we said, I mean they've been navy blue through the times through the years. Jose Mendoza, I feel like whoever made the design for mostly all hats this spring training got lazy. Ooh. And then last but not least, Kevin Martinez. I applaud them for finally getting away from Navy. So there's a little bit of mixed emotions right there. Going, some like the orange, some are kind of like, I don't know about this because, yeah, it's gonna look bright out there when the Astros are in the cage, on the field, wherever they're gonna be doing. So, but spring training's almost here. February 14th, pitchers and catchers report, and then the 19th is when the whole squad gets their first full workout in as a squad. Oh, Joshua likes the Navy. So, like I said, a lot of mixed emotions.
Yeah, I like the Navy too. But you know, this luckily this podcast came. It was an emergency one, but we kind of had some topics in mind, so we're able to meet this the 7 o'clock deadline. But we have some stuff cooking in the offseason, some huge news and some crazy trades, and that is Corbin Burns in Birdland. A day after the Orioles were sold, Orioles general manager Mike Elias strikes a deal. Corbin Burns to the Orioles, acquired for DL Hall and shortstop Joey Ortiz. And honestly, when I first pictured this deal, I was like, who did the Orioles give up? Because the Orioles have, I think, either one of the best or the best farm systems in Major League Baseball. They have Jackson Holiday, and I literally had the others on top of my head. They just disappeared like out of me.
Yeah,
But
Gunnar
they have,
Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez. I mean, they got a bunch of them. They
yeah,
got a bunch.
yeah. And so I was like, man, who did they give up? And looking at this, yes, they gave up one of their top prospects in Joey Ortiz, but I think that's a win for the Orioles. What do you think?
I think it's a win for both squads, really.
Okay.
And funny about it, I think Baseball America had the Orioles as number one and the Brewers as the number two
Okay.
farm system. So it helps the Orioles, though, I would say more because where they're at right now with the talent that they had, they won the AL East obviously last year. They made it to the postseason the first time in a while. And then I think they needed somebody to
Yeah.
add in that pitching rotation. Nothing against Kyle Bradish, nothing against Grayson
Grayson Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, John Means, all those type of players, but They didn't have that true ace. And now you get an ace that's won the Cy Young Award with Corbin Burns. I think that puts them on top of.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already on top of the AL East because they won it last year. But with the moves that the Yankees had made this past offseason with Juan Soto and Verdugo and all them, of course, if they have a healthy rotation, they could be up there as well. But what the Orioles have done with the young talent that they have as well, and like you were saying, they still have the best farm system in America and according in baseball America's eyes. So I think this is a huge win for the Orioles.
absolutely. I agree with you, and I think it makes a threat. Like it's gonna be a dogfight in the AL East, and you saw that this past year too with the Rays competing, the Orioles, the Yankees for a time, the Blue Jays. Like it's gonna be a dogfight out there, and I think this makes the Orioles a lot better because you're right. They were missing that one pitcher, and that came true in the postseason when their starters could not last 5+ innings, and adding a guy like Corbin Burns, you just don't bring an ace pitcher, but you bring experience. Corbin Burns has been in the postseason as well with the Birds. You bring like this kind of leadership, bro, who can like Grayson Rodriguez is pretty young. Well, last year when I talked to him, he said he learned a lot from Kyle Gibson. Well, now he has Corbin Burns to learn from, right? So when you're learning from a Cy Young, it's just different, right? And I think I think they have a chance to repeat the AO East. I think with the additional Juan Soto, like you were saying with the Yankees, I think everybody assumed that the AO East was just gonna fall apart and like it's gonna be the Yankees again. But no, it just shows you that they're ready to compete. And I see the Blue Jays being like rebounding from that season as well. I see the Rays probably disappointed in themselves as well, so they're gonna want to come back. So and now the Orioles and the Yankees, it's gonna be that's a 14 division right now. Sorry to all the Red Sox fans, but that's a 14 division right now.
I wouldn't say sorry to Red Sox fans. That I mean, they could be a sleeper team.
Yeah,
I think they're a sleeping team to me. But like you were saying, if you're looking at a team that's already kind of like if you're predicting your divisional winners right now, you would have to go with the Orioles of what they've been doing. You don't know how the Yankees are going to be with their pitching because of last year. You remember injuries were like a plague for that team. Nestor Cortez was hurt. Carlos Rodon was hurt. The only one that was really healthy throughout the season was Garrett Cole. And you saw what he did. He got the Cy
Cy
Young
Young.
winning,
Yeah,
he was the Cy Young Award winner for the American League. But now you got a Cy Young in Baltimore with a new ownership group and the best farm system in the league right now, which I wouldn't doubt that Jackson Holiday gets brought up to the majors this coming year. So Birdland's going to be serious for the next coming years. And they got, I'm pretty sure they're looking at the way how the Astros had constructed themselves through the years because you had Mike Elias and you got Sigma Dale over there with Baltimore. I think it's going to be, I think Baltimore is the real deal, man.
I think so too. And this is just a shout out from Just Fans Podcast. Thank you for staying tuned as well. Y'all go
Oh
give
yeah,
them
for sure. That's a
y'all go give them a
great,
follow too.
yeah, add just fans. I mean, they're a great podcast. A lot of Texan insight, a lot of football insight as well. They do wrestling too. I saw the other day, so
Mhm.
they're a really right there. Just Fans Podcast. They're a great group of guys, giving you some insights from football. I'm pretty sure they do basketball, but I've seen football and
Mhm.
wrestling majority of the time. So they're a great group of guys to be around as well.
Yeah, but before we let y'all go, we got another move. Kansas City. Hey, for Kansas City finishing almost like I think they were last or almost dead to last. They've been making some moves this offseason. Like if I'm a Kansas City Royal fan, I'm thinking that they don't want that. Like they don't want a repeat season, right? They're adding all these guys, making moves. And what do they do now? They got their franchise player, shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. and the Kansas City Royals are in agreement on an 11-year, $288.7 million contract extension. Now, he has opt-outs after his seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th year. And if he doesn't opt out, it turns into into a 14-year contract worth 377.7 million dollars.
Wow.
That's crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is if he does not opt out and stays for the 14 years, this is the third biggest contract in Major League history with Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Bobby Witt Jr.
I want to say Julio Rodriguez is in that category, but
Is
I'm
he?
not 100% sure. I think so, but like I said, I'm not very confident on it. I do remember, his contract extension happened after he won the Rookie of the Year, I want to say. But getting a guy like this, dude, I think it's big. And for the future of that Royals organization as well.
Oh,
They
Aaron
haven't had a
Judge.
Aaron Judge too, or that was just
Yeah,
the other one.
that was the other one, Aaron Judge. So I support.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
I know, but it's a big deal for Kansas City. I mean, getting a guy like this, I wouldn't say they haven't had a franchise player since George Brett. Salvador Perez has been, the guy, the cornerstone that's been there when they won their World Series and when they had a 2-year run in the World Series. But Bobby Witt for what 13, what you say, 13 or 14 years down the road. I mean, wow. I mean, he's special talent too. 5-tool player, defense, hitting, power, contact, all that, all that stuff. 30-30 guy as well. It's a big deal for Kansas City fans and, Royals fans, wherever they're at. But
Absolutely, absolutely.
real quick
Okay.
question though. Kansas City or Texas barbecue?
Yo, it's easy. Texas.
I've heard Kansas City barbecue is pretty good. I've heard. That's what I've heard before that their barbecue is good over there in Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know. I've never been. It'd be interesting to go out there and try some though.
Yeah.
But everybody's barbecue is different because I went to North Carolina and their
How was
barbecue
that?
is mainly in pork, in the
Like
pork category.
pulled pork.
Yeah. Honestly, wasn't a fan. I'm more of the beef kind of guy. Love a little slab of ribs, some brisket. Love all of that. I don't know how Kansas City barbecue is, so it'll be interesting. Astro Warp Craig says Southern Illinois barbecue beats them both.
Ooh.
Wow.
Is that
Southern
Southern
Illinois.
Illinois stepping up in the game or what? Is this because this is
And they
news to
putting, I
me?
mean, Astro Warp Craig's putting them on the map right now. Wow. Southern Illinois. I've never would have thought barbecue would be on the map for them. I know Texas. I've heard Texas. I've heard Kansas City. I've never heard of Illinois, but it's pretty cool. Get
Yeah,
another aspect of barbecue on that side of town.
absolutely.
But that is the end of our show. Of course, like we said, this was an emergency podcast episode, talking and discussing about Jose Altuve, his contract details, and what it's meant to this, the fan base of Houston. Because a lot of our comments right now, I mean, everybody's excited, everybody's thrilled that this guy's going to be in an Astros uniform for years to come. Um, of course, like we are talking about, he's been there since 2011. He's talked about playing after the age of 40. It'll be interesting to see I don't know how old would he be when it's at 2029. Do you have a clue by any chance?
Who
I
was
want to say
Altuve?
yeah, I want to say in the high 30s he'll be there.
Yeah, I think he's 33 right now.
So if you go about 38, 39.
Yeah, 39.
So I
39.
guess you would have to. I
Okay.
guess you would have to see how it's going to be at that time if Altuve's continue to go up the ladder or if he's kind of slowly going
Mm-hmm.
downhill.
Yeah.
39
Okay.
to be exact, Joshua said. But I mean, big day for Astros fans, I'd say. Big day for the city of Houston as well. Jose Altuve is an Astro for life. If you haven't seen our ticker below, continue to follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your favorite podcasts as well, from Google, Spotify, Apple. Let us know in the comments below. Andrew, you got anything before we sign off?
I just thank you for listening out. Thank you for staying tuned on this short notice and appreciate all you do.
Yeah, we might have another episode this coming week, just so we'll let y'all know. But till then, like Angel said, you have a great rest of y'all day, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.